the brain on fire, is it? Like,
Dine-in cinemas Bundoran, now serving pizza, hot dogs, ice cream, and more to your seat. Find out more at
and it's time to join our man at the movies, Collie McFadden, up there at Eclipse Cinemas in Bundoran. And well, this week he's kind of gone back to his roots.
Yeah, thought he was extinct. He just stinks. But that's where we're going. We're going back in time, back in history. By the way, anniversary of Back to the Future. Shane Smith, once of this parish, all-time favorite movie. 40 years today. Hard to believe.
I don't believe that. 40
yeah,
years.
No, 20, 15 maybe tops. But
15.
yeah, we're going back to Jurassic World this week. It's funny all week because we were saying, the last couple of weeks we were saying, oh, we've all these movies out, and a lot of them there was previews, and I kept on saying to you, no, we won't talk about this one because it's next Wednesday and so on. This week, only one movie, and I suppose when you're talking about the biggest predators that ever lived, maybe everything else wants to stay away because we're back in Jurassic territory again for the 7th movie, and I suppose
is it 7?
Yeah, some things never go out of fashion, and I think that would be dinosaur stuff. Now, obviously, because I like film and I understand what's good and bad, I obviously think the first Jurassic Park is a work of absolute genius. It's still as good today as ever it was. Absolute brilliant. And when people do the big list of Spielberg movies, speaking of anniversaries, 50 years since Jaws, and I think we're going to get that in a couple of weeks. But I think, Jurassic Park is probably underrated among his movies. It's so, so good. And the sequels had varying quality. And I must admit, the last one's past the time. But I remember talking to you about them the last couple of years and going, look, it doesn't really matter what I think. Because if you're 11, you're going in and going, I really enjoyed that. And the stuff that annoyed me or thought, oh, haven't we seen this before or something, didn't really bother them. But I have to admit, because they did well, but not amazingly well. Mm-hmm. I was surprised we were going back so soon. And you asked me about it last week, and I said, but I did look at the stars in it, and I said, if those stars are in it, if Scarlett Johansson's in it, maybe there's a reason to go back to Jurassic World one more time.
This island was the research facility for the original Jurassic Park.
The worst of the worst, we're left here. Survival is a long shot.
Let's go.
Jurassic World in cinemas.
It's going to set the brain on fire, is it? Like it's
but they have a
Rebirth.
Nice. Yeah, you're dead right. Sorry to talk over Jamie, but they're dead right, and they have a nice little reset there. So in the last one, sort of the dinosaurs were released on the world, and there were dinosaurs everywhere. But what they said was the atmosphere, the environment, the temperature has changed. They're not lasting. Most of them are dying out, and the only ones that are surviving really are down by the equator, where conditions are more like the world was 65 million years ago. I'm sure that's not true, but it works in the movie. And they have the MacGuffin, as Hitchcock used to call it. Here, the trick is they have to get the DNA for the animals, but the animals have to be alive. And it's a good idea because it makes it much more fun and exciting. So they have to chase the giant animals, the giant dinosaurs, and take a blood sample while it's still alive and awake. That is the trick of it, which makes for very exciting stuff. Now, does the plot matter? No. Of course it did. Even in the original Jurassic Park, the plot didn't really matter that much. But it's as good a reason as any to do it. They have to get the biggest dinosaur in the water, the biggest dinosaur in the air, and the biggest dinosaur on land. They have to get a sample from all of them and stay in this little island. And they're back in the little island. It's against the law, so they're isolated. There's a gang of ragtags. They managed to pick up some kids to give a bit of jeopardy for kids. And here we go. And I have to say, mostly it works. It is good fun again. And I was saying to you about those stars like Mahershala Ali and Scarlett Johansson, looking back and going, why will we do this? Because it's good crack. You get to go to the equator and you have a good laugh because the story is good fun. And I don't think it takes itself too seriously. Like you were saying about those science bits, it's kind of winking at the camera and going, don't worry about it too much. Here's the thing. We have to find 3 things. The family they picked up. No, they probably would be eaten in the first hour. Doesn't matter. They're plucky and they're going to get, people are going to get through. There's lots of effects, lots of throwbacks to the other stuff. There's a couple of bits that you go, "Ooh, that could have cut that for 10 minutes." But most of the time, I thought it was a rock and roller coaster of fun. And it's been out since Wednesday. And definitely that has been the feedback. The people are really enjoying it. And whatever about yesterday, when it was sunny, quite a few people came to see it. Needless to say, this afternoon, it's been jammers. Because last week, I had to close the curtains behind me to keep the sun out of our video. Today, it's to keep the sound of the howling wind in July out. So people are really enjoying it. It's really good fun. I'd say it's the second best, maybe the third best of all the movies. It's good fun. It's about 2 hours, so not too long either. It doesn't hang around. And most of the action scenes are really good fun. And look, we're there to see the dinosaurs. We're not there to see the people. And much like when... No, I was going to say when people come to visit you.
Okay.
So,
right. Right. Let's move on. Misted Monday. Now you're bringing. I haven't seen this, but the Salt Pack. You love this movie.
Yeah, it was very, very popular. A true story. And again, I always love the mix. So we've a couldn't possibly be true story with Jurassic World, and we've got stories like this. The true story of a couple who found themselves bankrupt and homeless and facing terminal illness, and just when everything was at their worst and they had nothing left to lose, and they decided to go walk the coastal path in Cornwall just to do something rather than laying down and dying, which was pretty much their only option. And suddenly a miracle happened and health returned and people got interested in their story and they got a bit of money from the story. People have really been blown away, but moved by it. And it is that sort of true story that it has to be true, because if somebody made this up, you go, that would never happen. And I think
so. That's it. You've that back Monday, is it?
Yeah, that's back on Monday for just $5.50, and I think it'll be very popular.
Come here. A few things I want to ask you about. Yeah. Superman is back. Is it going to be the original?
I was talking to a kid today, and a kid, he's 18, but that works with me, and I was trying to explain to him that lots of people our age will go, I have no interest in superhero movies. And you go, what about the original Superman? You go, yes.
And no, that's it.
Now that's a movie, and possibly Superman 2, but that's where it stops. And I was saying how we believed a man could fly, how it changed cinema, and how good it was. And Christopher Reeve, because we liked Clark Kent and Superman. We were interested in both of them. And I have kind of lost that sense. It looks like a throwback. It looks like a family film as well. It's not going to be too dark or anything. And it looks fun. I'm very curious to see this because, again, like Jurassic World, I was surprised they went back to this. I thought maybe Superman was kind of done and dusted, and they seem to be very optimistic about it. So that opens next Friday, and we'll talk about that next week.
Okay, we look forward to that. Now, quick mention, you've done a golf film?
Yeah, it's called Four Letters of Love, and this looks really interesting. Not least because Pierce Brosnan can't seem to do an Irish accent, which is amazing because he is Irish, but he's still so watchable. It's all filmed up in Donegal. I don't know if it's set in Donegal, but it's all filmed up in Donegal. This is a romantic film for some of our older listeners who will really enjoy this, and a nice contrast to all the blockbuster stuff. That's coming in 2 weeks. I think it's going to be a big hit. We always love to support our own.
Okay, that's Collie on Movies. Till the movies next Thursday. Enjoy the movies at Eclipse Cinemas in Bundoran.